Paula. This is
Yep.
pretty exciting to be in this moment today. I've been a spectator on some of the presentations through New Mexico New, and there's been so many knowledgeable people and so many talented people. So it's a great honor for me to be here today. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody just take a breath. Just find a nice big deep breath and let yourself drop into the moment. I teach a mindful anatomy to bring the body into a state of balance and pleasure. I believe that the body really needs to feel pleasure in order for it to be full functioning. All of the movement that I teach is done in round and spiraling motions, and it's done in circles are in the body as well as around the body. And when we get further into this, you'll see what I'm talking about with that. I'm certified through a method called gyrotonic, gyro meaning round and tonic meaning movement. And the man that derived the method has a quote that I keep very near and dear to my heart. And that quote is that when you are thankful for life, and all that surrounds you, it manifests in a certain kind of feel in your body. As I move further into my own midlife, I feel the need to live my life in a bit of a more unpredictable way, and that unpredictable way is watching and looking at the way that nature functions. We have so many rules and regulations about how we should live and how the body should function, and when we're supposed to lose our sight for reading, or when we have to go for these tests and when we have to go for those tests. But I've decided to live my life a little bit more unpredictable and to live it watching nature. And when nature is stagnant, it goes dormant or it dies. And we see rhythm in nature, the rhythm of the seasons. And it doesn't mean that when the season goes dormant, fall to winter, that it has to stay that way. And so I believe that for people that are really I see a lot of people in chronic pain. And when they come to me, they're in that dormant stage. But I do believe that I can take them into the spring. So as it is with nature, it is also with the human body. The more we move our bodies, the more we find within and without our being pleasure in that movement. The less we move, the less expression that we have in life. And I say that because I see that in my practice. Gyrotonic gives us the ability to learn sensation as we move, to find joy and pleasure of all the systems working together to make health and wholeness. This is done through rhythm and a pulsation through the body. The body has a rhythm or rhythms that it moves off of. Not all the rhythms are the same. We have a rhythm that the heart has. We have the peristalsis of our digestion. So all the systems of our body have a rhythm, but they're not all the same. And it's when those rhythms are interrupted and stagnated, that's when the body goes into dis-ease. So living more outside of the allopathic design and finding ways that you can heal yourself and live whole through understanding how your body works. I teach into great length into anatomy so that you can understand when you're moving and even when you're in pain, where's that pain coming from? It's not always coming from where we think it's coming from. How I got to dis-ease, did I just stop moving, or is there some kind of an adjustment that my body needs, or is there a nutritional issue? And so we explore that, and I have lots and lots of referrals that I can give people so that if they need to see a nutritionist or they need something else that I can't provide, I have a great list of people to see. And lastly, how can I talk to my body and discover wholeness within myself? So it's a really important thing to be able to not only listen to your body, but to be able to send body message or to talk to your body as you're trying to heal yourself. I believe that our lives are lived basically in two emotions. We either live in love or we live in fear. And I think that it's these two basic emotions that sometimes when they start butting heads against each other is when the body starts to feel like it's butting heads with itself. So I would like to show you a quick clip from my friend Diane from Boulder, Colorado, who has been working with a group of Alzheimer patients. Her mother was one of the patients in the home, and she started to see really great things happen with her mother's function when she started doing gyrotonic with her. And so she decided to just have a class every week with all the people in the facility. So here's a small clip, and this is my friend Diane working with her patients.
Sehr gut, und zwar hauptsächlich in den Schultern und die Bewegung mit den Armen und dem ganzen Körper. Dadurch habe ich eigentlich meinen Körper erst kennengelernt.
This is the work invented by Julia Horvath, which is really based on the fluidity of the fluid body and really moving the body in circles and in spirals and in three-dimensional ways. So what you see with these elders that are in their 90s is that some of the rigidity from walking and sitting and doing all the very linear motions throughout their lives really start to loosen. And there's this softening and this gracefulness and this ease that returns. Everything is about constant movement and rhythm. So that's, I think, what really distinguishes gyrokinesis and the gyrotonic movements from other modalities is it's a constant dance. It's a constant breathing in and breathing out and a fluid, almost like moving through water concept. You know, and they come in and you forget they're ageless because they're really moving with a sense of gracefulness, ease, and joy. So let's go into this movement. Good. Ruth, a little bit over towards Pearl. Down and stretch. And down and reach. Gorgeous. Down and reach.
Oh, I love working with the elder population. I'm an elder myself now, so isn't that beautiful the way that they move? I really enjoy that that little clip. During COVID, I was not able to travel to Denver to see my parents, and we did a weekly Zoom call and did a little bit of catch up, and then I moved with them for 20 or 30 minutes. They're 86 and 87. And it was such a gift for me. I don't know if they're on the call this morning or not, but it was such a gift for me to be able to have them keep moving and to be able to feel the rhythms of their life continue, even though that they were in isolation. I've worked with all kinds of individuals, from elite athletes to people that are in wheelchairs. You can see from the clip that you just saw that it's very, very adaptable to whatever audience that I'm working with. And in the film, you heard the German woman talk about how the work had helped her shoulders. And in the movement, she felt like she was affecting her entire body. This is the beauty of this work. And what happens in the work is that the movements that are prescribed actually move the entire body. We're not just moving one part of the body at a time. We learn how to really move from the center of gravity in the pelvis, and then to let the movement release from there. So the whole body is being energized and rhythmized as you go into the movements. And this woman, you know, if you think about it, she probably lived through World War II, and she talked about this shoulder problem. Well, when I listen to somebody tell me that they have shoulder problems, I always think about problems of the heart, and maybe not so much physical problems of the heart, but emotional sadness, emotional grief. And this work really helps to release those kinds of things, and that's why it's so effective for people that are aging, like this German woman. It releases emotions, and we all know that when we can release those kinds of things in our life, it actually prolongs our life. There's been research that shows that we can prolong our life and live our life in more joy. So, do we have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm supposed to raise my hand. I just can't find the little hand signal. So, Julieann, what did you mean? You just said shoulder problems make you think about the heart.
If you think about the horizontal distance, if you put your arms out, think about the horizontal distance from middle finger to middle finger, and where the juncture is, and that's right in the chest, right in the heart. And so when the shoulders are bound down, what happens is that it compresses everything all the way through the body. And so not only is the physical heart not functioning correctly because it's being compressed, but also the emotions of all of that, the energetic chakra in the heart. And so that's kind of how I look at everything, is that, you know, if you have a problem in your foot, you know, is there an issue of not feeling grounded in your life right now? We're all feeling a little less grounded than we were 3 years ago, I'm sure. And so I've done a lot of work on people's feet just to help people feel that sense of grounding. And so usually a physical malady or chronic pain or whatever people come to me with, it also will present itself into an emotion. And I'm not a counselor, and I don't go into great length in, you know, trying to diagnose, but I do ask the person to work with the emotion. So instead of stopping and allowing somebody to have a weepy moment, I ask them to keep moving through it, because once we do that, it starts to move these things through our bodies.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
In the little clip, there was a woman using something. I'm not sure, was it attached to her chair or was it an independent apparatus so she could move her arms more? Do you remember that?
Yeah, Mary, this is a really great question. And it's a good time for me to kind of clarify. The man that derived the method, his name is Julio Horvath, and he started this movement in the kind of movements that you saw in the clip with the people in the class. And then he realized, this is kind of funny, he was sitting in a bar one day and started doing the movements with his hands on rotating bar stools, and realized that it actually gave him some feedback. So that he could feel from the movement that was supported by the bar stools, he could feel more of what was happening in his body, and felt that it was it was actually had the potential to put his body into more of a fixed and aligned position while he worked. And so he, there's 2 trademarks on it. It's gyrotonic, which is the equipment, and gyrokinesis, which is just the non-equipment on the chair, on the stool piece. And so, yes, I'm going to turn this. They're kind of, I have a piece of that in my studio. And so, yes, I work off of the equipment as well as the non-equipment work.
Thank you.
Yes, that was a great question. Thank you.
So maybe one more question I always have is because when I try to tell people about what I do with you, the question they always ask is, how's that different from going to a gym or exercising or Pilates, kind of going into a studio with Pilates? So
Right.
what's the difference?
Right. Great question. I love talking about the segue between Pilates and gyrotonic, because I actually started teaching body work through the Pilates method, and went to great lengths to be certified through Pilates, and then was introduced to gyrotonic. And I felt like it was a lot more complete in finding those spirals in the body. Pilates tends to be a little bit more linear, not as round, and really our body is set up in the joint system almost like we have little springs. And so that's why this work is so great for being able to open the body up. We're always looking for ways to expand the body. It's when I said if there's shoulder problems, we go into this compression. And so I'm always looking for that way that we can find expansion in the body. There was a second piece to that question. What was the second piece?
The traditional exercise.
Uh-huh. So as the little German lady helped us realize that you're working the entire body all at the same time as you're doing the work. I can guarantee you that those people that you saw in the clip, if you put a heart rate lead to them, their heart rates were up. And so as we bring people in at whatever level they come in, we're always looking at how we can find that rhythm. And as the person understands the movement more and more, and they start to move into the repertoire of the movements, then what happens is it really ends up being quite a workout if they want to get a workout. I always tell my clients that the best way to practice what they've learned in their lesson is to go for a walk. That going into a cardio, you could take a walk, you could run, you could ride your bike, whatever gets your heart rate up a little bit, and whatever the body can use in a cardio way to be able to practice what you learned in your lesson. So as far as traditional exercise and going to the gym, yes, you could practice it on the cardio equipment in the gym. And as far as the weights are concerned, if you're going to go into weight training and do gyrotonic, it's probably better to do it on a free weight system than the machines, because the machines actually limit the range of motion that the body can go into. And I did a little 4-month stint in a gym just because I wanted to see, I used to be a gym rat way back when. And I just wanted to see what it felt like to go into a gym. And I really did feel like I wasn't able to get the full range of motion that I get on the gyrotonic equipment.
Yeah, definitely.
Did I answer all those questions?
Yes, you did. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Good. Yes.
All right. Unless we have another question, maybe that's a good segue to have you go through a movement with us. And
yes, I would love to do that. And so if you are in a place where you can find either a chair, or we use small stools, preferably something without arms on it, and just get yourself settled in. And I'm going to move back into my spot, and we'll do a little bit of movement so you can see what this looks like and feels like.
Great. Look forward to it.
So are we all set? So in the position that you're in right now, just allow your feet to be a little bit, your legs and your feet to be a little bit wide, so they act as guy wires. And just place the heels of your hands kind of on your thighs, and let your humerus bone really drop from the shoulder socket. The humerus bone is the bone that goes from the shoulder to the elbow. And so just kind of feel that the heaviness of that. I do believe that that weighs about 6 pounds. And so you have like this 12-pound sense of weightiness in the humerus. Just see what that feels like. Situate yourself so that you can feel that you're talking to your body and allowing the position to keep you out of any kind of uncomfortableness or pain. And then just begin to breathe. I want you to breathe in through the nose and then exhale through the mouth. And as you exhale through the mouth, let it all go. Try to feel where empty is in your breath. And go through that a few breath cycles, just noticing how your body responds to it. Is it something that feels good? Or is it something that is feeling forced and maybe uncomfortable? And just observe it. There's really no good or bad, right or wrong, black or white to this. And then as you're breathing, I want you to imagine that you're sitting in a really big rocking chair. I always laugh because it was the rocking chair that I would imagine is those rocking chairs at, what's the name of the restaurant? Cracker Barrel. Yeah, they have those big rocking chairs that they sell. And so you want to just feel, what would it be like to be in one of those big rocking chairs where when you lean back into the rocking chair, you can literally feel that the rocking chair is behind you, supporting you, not just your back, but also your head. And then feel yourself rock forward, and you'll notice that you sort of rock into the soles of your feet. And then just find that breath cycle to entice the movement of rocking back and rocking forward and rocking back and rocking forward. And if you have a rocking chair in your home, this is a really great thing to actually do in a chair. It really helps to soothe the body and knit places in the nervous system that need to be knitted back together. I give this exercise to new mommies when I get clients that come in that just have had babies. I tell them to rock in the rocking chair because this is a way to really reawaken the core system after it's been traumatized and sent through childbirth. So this is a really great exercise for new mommies, but it's also a really great exercise as we go through life, just to keep ourselves calm and soothed. And you'll notice if you continue the breath asking for the motion, what happens is that you'll really just feel yourself start to drop down into a sense of calm, relaxing just a little bit. Don't let the movement be too far forward or too far back. It's just feeling it in a movement of ease. And then let your rocking chair come back to a place that we call neutral. And the neutral position is so that you can feel your sits bones underneath you. Those are those bones that when you sit in the chair, you can feel that there's those bones that are straight up and down on the stool or on the chair. And just notice being right in the center of that. It may make the body feel like you're not in the center, but that's the center point. So if the body has been in this position and you try to find the position of being on top of the sits bones, it's going to make you feel really far forward because your body has been thinking that this is your neutral position, and being way back behind yourself is normal. So when you come to a neutral position, then the body goes, that's not neutral, that's really far forward. So you kind of have to get used to being able to feel it through the bony landmarks instead of how do I feel in space. And then the other thing I want you to feel is how your head is on top of you. Are you forward of yourself with the head? Are you back of yourself with the head? Do you feel like your head is maybe tilted to one side or the other? And the head weighs 15 to 20 pounds. And so if I'm sitting like this and it makes my head go forward, I have this this action is trying to take place where my head's trying to take me that way and my low back is trying to take me this way, and it's going to give me a really tight low back. And so find that neutral position. Where is that neutral position? Right on top of the sits bones. And then seeing if you can feel the head float right on top of you. It's kind of fun to feel the body when you make the intention of this, to feel the body kind of move around a little bit to find where that is. And that's your neutral position. Now, I want you to go back and find your breath again. And when I say find your breath, it's finding your breath because maybe you forgot you were supposed to be breathing, or just bringing yourself back to the awareness of breath. So just take in a few big, deep breath cycles. And as you exhale through the breath cycle, breathe into the soles of the feet. Let the exhalation go into the soles of the feet. And when the breath goes into the soles of the feet, imagine that you're a tree and that you have roots that are growing down into the earth. And just feel that sensation of, if you had roots, if I was a tree, I would want my roots to go really far down looking for the nutrients in the water. And so really feel that as you go through your breath. And then as you continue the breath, not only do you want to feel the soles of the feet growing roots into the earth, you want to imagine that you're being hung from a beautiful gold piece of rope from the sky. So now I'm growing roots down into the earth, and I'm also letting myself be hung from that beautiful gold rope. So then what happens is you start to feel the body in this equal and opposing, downward and upward at the same time, this equal and opposing expansion. It literally creates space between the vertebrae, giving the discs a little bit more room. And if anybody has ever had disc problems, you know that this is a really important thing, is to be able to open up the space so that the disc can rejuvenate and be whole again. So just see if you can feel that. And for some people, this may feel like it's a lot of work. If you've been out of posture, if you've been this way or you've been this way, this may be a lot of effort to keep yourself in that upright position. And that's okay. It's just your body talking to you. Now, feel the soles of the feet growing roots into the earth. Let that beautiful golden rope lift you up. And in between that, I want you to use your breath to take you back into the rocking motion. And just see if you can maintain that rocking motion as you're growing roots into the earth and as you're being hung from the sky by that beautiful golden rope. it is much like a tree, because if you think the deeper that the roots grow into the earth, the more the trunk and the branches can grow up towards the sun. And just notice how that feels in your body. You can use your hands on your thighs to support yourself forward. And then sometimes if you just give the heel of the hand a little nudge, it'll really help you feel that back motion. And then gently let it settle in the center. One of the things I would like to interject here is that in this work, the front of the body energetically represents our past. Everything that we've seen before, that we've done before, is in front of us. And our future is behind us. The future is behind us, moving us and flowing us forward this way. So it's kind of seems backwards, but if you really think about it, it makes sense. And so what I want you to do now is I want you to take a moment in time, could be not so far back past, or it could be really far past, and just think of a moment. My moment is going to be when I saw my grandmother walk through the door as a kid. I got very excited because she was a fan of mine, and I was always so happy to see her. And so as I go into this rocking motion, I want to be able to go into the thought of what that past memory is, and to just move back and forth and to feel the joy of that moment. You may have chosen a moment that wasn't quite as happy as what I described. I broke my ankle riding my granddaughter's scooter one day and had to have surgery and off of my foot for a long time. And so if I go into that memory of this, I want to really feel what that brings up for me, and what that meant in the past of everything that's happened from that, and imagine that because I healed from it, what my future is going to be like. I can still hike, I can still bike, I can still ski. And then I'm going to bring myself back into that neutral position and just allow my body to hang out in that neutral position, growing roots into the earth and feeling that rope reach me to the ceiling. And I'm going to be in this present moment, in that neutral moment that sits between what's already happened and what's going to happen. Because everything that's already happened, I can't change. And everything that's going to happen hasn't happened yet. And so it's this moment of being in this present moment and just allowing yourself to feel that there is no judgment in the past or the future. You get to be in this moment right now. Check in with your breath. And just notice what the breath is doing, and be aware of where the energy in your body is going. Energy is movement, it's heat. We all feel that energy in a different way. So can you feel movement? Can you feel heat? Can you feel some tingling or something that feels different as you're in that present moment? Good. And just kind of note what you're noticing. Now you're going to take the next movement and bring the arms down to your sides. And in your mind's eye, I want you to find an image of a clock on the wall that has a pendulum. And the pendulum hangs from a mechanism that keeps everything completely straight, and the mechanism and the weight on the bottom of the pendulum move that pendulum back and forth in, guess what? Rhythm, to keep time. And so you're going to do the same thing with your body. I want you to feel, and we're going to turn this upside down. So I want you to feel that your pelvis is the mechanism. It's what's really going to make the movement side to side happen. But then you also feel that energy move up so that you can feel that it takes your head to the side. Now, I don't want to go into this kind of a movement side to side. See that movement where I'm leading with my head? I want to feel that this mechanism here is literally moving out the top of my head. And you're going to bring your arms down to the sides and feel, because I spoke of this earlier, because the energetic piece of where your arms start is in the mid-back chest area. And so when my arms are down like this, what happens is when my pendulum goes into my right side, you can feel the humerus and the arm all the way down to your fingertips literally hang away from the body. But my left side is leaning into me. And then as I come through the center, it's even. And then as I go to the left, the right arm leans in towards me and the left arm hangs. And I'm not pushing it out. I'm just feeling the sensation of when my mid-back chest area goes to the right side, it makes my right arm hang and my left arm rest on my body. So just find yourself that little pendulum motion, and you're still growing roots into the earth and being hung by that beautiful golden rope from the sky. And just feel now that your breath can entice this movement. So we're never looking for the movement to find the breath. We're always looking for the breath to find the movement. So this movement may look different. I can only see myself. I can't see all of you, but this movement might be different in the way that each one of you is doing it, in the speed of it, in the length of it. And just let the breath entice it. Feel how your feet participate. When I go over to my right side, my left foot sort of helps to push the top of my head over. When I go to the left side, my right foot helps to push the top of my head over to the left. Being really careful to keep the sits bones down onto your chair or your stool. And then bring it back into the center. And find that place between past and future where you're in this present moment. Finding that neutral position for the spine. Really find where that is. And you may find when you get closer and closer to it, the body kind of wobbles a little bit because it's really looking for it. You gave it the message you wanted to find the center. And so now the body's kind of wobbling itself to get there. And then just notice how that is for you. Good. So in opposition, we're always looking for an equal and opposing direction. And the equal and opposing direction isn't just up, down, or side to side. I want you to think about one of those little mini trampolines and how it has the center that you jump on, and then it has all those springs that come out from it. And all of those springs make an equal and opposing force so that when you jump on it, you can stay in the center. Otherwise, you would, I don't know what would happen. You either go through the center or you would get thrown off to the side. So I want you to just feel that in the pelvis, in your center of gravity here, that you're just feeling that in all directions, you start to feel that sensation of expansion, that there is not just a forward and not just a back, not just a right and not just a left, but you have all these diagonals that are pushing and pulling on each other to make it equal right through the pelvic floor, which helps to really keep the center of gravity stable. So in that opposition, the body's energy and the way that we move, and there's all kinds of little figure of eights through the body, but we're going to make a figure of eight with the spine. And so what we're going to do is you're going to use that motion of rocking forward, and then you're going to take the rock forward and you're going to find that pendulum piece on the right side. And then you're going to feel yourself go all the way to the back of the rocking chair and then come straight down the center. And then I'm going to go over to the left pendulum all the way around to the rocking chair in the back and bring it back into the center and hold it there. So where you are in the center in this present moment is the intersection between the two loops of the figure of eight. And I want you to be really aware of that. You can find that wherever you want in the spine. I oftentimes try to find it in my solar plexus because in my mind, that makes the most sense. So, but I've also worked it from the pelvis. But I want you to find where the intersection of your loops are. You know that a figure of eight makes two loops. And then go back to your breath. And really focus your breath on that intersection. And then in your mind's eye, see that movement of a figure of eight that we did just a moment ago. And wait until you feel like the breath is at a place that it can lead you into that leaning forward and lead you around the loop on the right, all the way to the center back, down through the intersection, and looping around the other side. So the movement is following your breath. So whatever breath cycle that you have, you want to feel the movement follow your breath. And you'll notice that I didn't say this is where you inhale and this is where you exhale, because I don't believe that breath has any rules. That the way that my body breathes in and out and affects the spine is completely different than the person that's sitting next to me, or all of you that are on the video call. So let your breath find your rhythm. And just continue around that figure of eight, feeling the feet grow roots into the earth and feeling that beautiful golden rope reaching you out and up towards the sky, so that as you go through this motion, what's happening is you're staying really long in your spine. You're once again creating that space between the vertebrae for the discs to have full function. And coming around to the left side, rocking back and then into the center, into your intersection. And just notice how that is. Notice what's happening in your body. And have you found that place of being in this present moment? And what does this present moment feel like? Now you're going to take that spine again, being really long. And now what you're going to do is rock back in your rocking chair. And then start again your loop around to the right. Now the loop goes forward to the center and it comes through the intersection. You rock back and around to the left side, through the front and then the center, and be really aware of how you're floating your head on top of your spine and not allowing your head to take over the movement. So when I come around to the side, I don't want my head making that movement to happen. Or if I'm going to go forward, I don't want my head making the movement. I want to feel that my head is being balanced and floating right on top of that C1. And if there's been a lot of neck pain or misalignment, it may be really hard to find that floating right now. It may be difficult to feel that. Gently bring it around the loop on the left to the front and back into your intersection. And taking a nice big deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just notice how that is. Being in this present moment. And when I give you the cue, this present moment, are you on top of your sits bones? So that you're not forward of yourself or back of yourself, but you're sitting right on top of the sits bones, really allowing yourself to be balanced in this present moment. Just be aware of the sensations, the emotions that are going through the body. And continue in your breath cycle. And I want you to feel that breath cycle give you the most amount of expansion possible. Your diaphragm is the muscle of breathing, and it sits around the low rib cage here, all the way around. It's disc-like. It's like when it works, it's like a jellyfish. It works like this. And so I want you to really feel yourself in the expansion of that. And if you've ever sat down at the aquarium and watched the jellyfish, it's just an amazing display of expansion and rhythm, and it's how our diaphragm inside of our body actually works. So just see if you can feel that expansion come through the body. Can you breathe that expansion up into your armpits? And can you breathe that expansion down the spine into your tail? Can you breathe some expansion wide in the pelvis? Can you breathe the expansion up into the two hemispheres of the brain? Continue to breathe and just close your eyes for a moment and be aware of how things change when you close your eyes. And then very slowly, bring your eyes to open. And just notice how you feel.
Feeling good.
Good. So you can see that I could have talked for the entire hour about what I did, but really it's the experience of it that really helps you to feel and to know what it is that that happens as we go through the movement.
Mhm.
So after doing the movement, does anybody have any questions? You're all so calm, you can't think of a question, right?
I have a
It's
question.
not working now.
Go ahead, Ellen.
So what I want to say is I never really associated the weight of my body with me having to carry it around. It's always about how I look in clothes, right? I mean, I never thought of it that way, and I could really feel the weight this time, which was really interesting.
Mhm.
But my question to you, Julieann, is what about balance? Does this help with balance? Because I feel like as I get older, my balance is shaky.
Yeah, it's, balance and control is usually what we're looking for when we're doing stretching and this kind of work.
Mm,
I like to say that you come into balance, you know that you've come into balance with this when you start to really feel pleasure in your body.
mm,
When you start to feel what you described, the weightiness of your body and taking all the pressure off the joints and just being able to feel that in that equal and opposing force, I don't I don't have to work. I don't have to put force and energy into this. It just becomes so efficient in the way that the body starts to balance you from the pelvis and the spine. So it's a really, really great modality for balance. Yeah. I've seen lots and lots of my seniors that I have two clients that started with me when my youngest son was 2, and my youngest son is 35 now. And um, in the last few years, falls kept happening, and so we worked with that, and it was really amazing to see how they would come more into balance with this work. Um, and so yeah, it's a really great modality for balance because it's equalizing the body. The body doesn't really have a center as far as, like, if you weighed the two parts of your body, the two sides of your body, because of the way that our organs are situated in our body, we tend to be heavier on the right than we are on the left. And then if you're right-handed, that kind of throws the balance off a little bit more. So this method really helps us to feel ourselves come as close to balance as we possibly can. And what really acts as a helper or a support to that is we gather our balance from the earth. And it's really the ankles that are constantly moving and talking to the pelvis, telling it where center is and where it is that the spine is going to feel most supported in balance.
great, thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks. That really helps.
Yes, that's a great question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Mary.
Are there classes or videos? I don't live near you. I'm in
Mhm.
Ruidoso. Are there classes or videos or something where we can learn more about this? It's fascinating.
Right. I have a private practice in Albuquerque, and have always just taught private lessons, and then had people add the classwork to it, like what you saw in the video or what we did today. And so then in Marches, the COVID shut down, and I had to learn how to teach this on Zoom.
Yeah.
And thanks to Paula, she was the one that suggested, oh, you could do this on Zoom. And so I've spent the last 2 years learning how to teach on Zoom. And so we have some small Zoom groups. I don't like to teach large classes because I need to be able to be attentive to people's bodies.
Mhm.
And so there's some small groups that that meet on Zoom. And then also now that things are starting to open up a little bit more, I'm starting to think maybe some in-house classes. But you could, and I also do privates on Zoom.
Mm.
So that's kind of how it works.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. And we can share that information and give it to us, Julieann, then we can share that out.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Yeah, if you're interested in a group, the best thing is to contact me, because I try to put like people together so that not everybody's working on the same thing, but so that it weaves into the group with some synergy, instead of, I would never put a 10-year-old in with a 25-year-old. Yeah, just that kind of thing.
And I'll put your email in the chat.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Email or text is a really great way if you want to chit chat about things. You can also call me. Yeah.
Okay.
Mary, do you have another question?
I have another question.
You're fine. That's great.
My sister and I had started doing Tai Chi,
Mhm.
which it seems like the fluidity and some of the motions might be similar. Are they similar? Are they different? Or
Right.
how is the relationship with this to Tai Chi?
So the man that derived the method, Julio Horvath, was a real mover himself. He was actually a professional dancer.
Mm.
He was the principal for the Houston Ballet. And so there's lots of dancing that you see that sort of moves through the work. He really loves Tai Chi.
Mm.
And so you'll see a lot of Tai Chi type things in the work.
Yeah.
He completely adores the water and loves to swim. And so there's a lot of swimming moves in it. And he really likes to just move. And so, he applies it a lot to a lot of different things. And so, yeah, that's how it was derived, because he was a mover. Yoga,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of yoga that you can kind of see in it.
Right. Well, it's all helpful.
Mhm.
We also take classes through Senior Olympics, the enhanced fitness.
Mhm.
Now that's a lot more vigorous. And
Yeah.
we use a lot of weights and do aerobics and weights and things. It's not beautiful, especially when I did. It's not always beautiful like these movements seem to be, but they're all helpful.
Exactly.
And I'm glad Ellen asked about balance, because I have a shoulder issue because of a fall.
Yes.
And when you said about the heart, I'm like, oh, because my shoulder's not healing very well. So maybe there's some work I need to do in other
Mary,
places.
there's a small series of movements that can be taught to you. I recently went to Baja, Mexico to take a course. And I had not been on an airplane for 2.5 years. And I loaded my suitcase way too heavy and decided to carry on. And so, I had a little injury for the week I was there. And then the airplane trip back, really, like, I woke up the day after traveling and my shoulder really hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And so I've spent the last week putting it back together, because I know how to do that. And there's no pain. I have full range of motion now, and I don't have pain. And it's just it's a small series of movements that I can show you that would just sort of like give the body an idea from the head to the body and how it can organize itself. Because basically the rehab of a broken shoulder or an injured shoulder like that, that's what it is it's just putting, it's putting the shoulder back into synergy with the rest of your body.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Yes.
I'll contact you.
Okay, great. Great. Anybody else?
All right. Any other questions? Okay, so I have a short question. So hopefully when you're doing that rocking, and you said it helps with, I forgot what you said, it helps with resetting some system. I just wondered if that rocking back and forth, and it's calming to the body.
Mhm.
Would that be a good way for people who have PTSD from accident or an almost accident, or that kind of that feeling in your body, that PTSD? Would that be a good way to soothe that and to work that PTSD out of the body?
So coming on 3 years in June, I was struck by lightning and it fried my nervous system. And I had used the rocking chair thing with other clients that I'd worked with that had trauma.
Mhm.
And my mom bought me this really big, huge, cute rocking chair for my birthday. And that's been one of the things that I do when I feel like it has created in the PTSD, it creates panic attack a little bit. And so if I go into a rocking motion, what it does is that it gets the cranial sacral rhythm going between the low spine and up in the meninge and the brain. And so that rocking motion rebalances the cranial sacral rhythms of the body. So yeah.
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 Great. It is one of the most calming, and can be done anywhere, right? On a plane, on a,
Right. Yeah. If any of you have had children, I have 3 children, and I know that even today, like if I'm standing in the grocery store line, I oftentimes catch myself in that waving, that rocking motion, trying to soothe myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we learn that in utero, that sense of needing that soothing rocking back and forth, the rhythm. Mhm.
Yep. Well, thank you, Julieann. You've been
So welcome.
Yeah, you've been great. I really appreciate you sharing. You have such a, what has always impressed me through the lessons I do with you is you explain it physically to me through the anatomy so that I can see it in my mind. And then there's that mind, body, spirit connection. And you've given me so many practical ways for me to get present, be in my body. If I feel a pain, start to talk to my body. So I just appreciate you being here today and sharing all of your wisdom, and appreciate it. And I know that it's been a huge gift to me. And I'm glad that we got to share it with the New Mexico New community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you all for showing up.
Yes, thank you. All right, so we want to just go through what are the upcoming events, because we have now, wow, Tammy has been doing a ton of work on getting the next events up. And so I think we have them through June. So first one is at the end of next month, March 31st, we get to have Dr. Riley White from UNM Anderson back. And this one is really focused on the sandwich generation. So there's plenty of us that we've heard from that have kids, not only kids, and we're taking care of our parents too. Some have both, some have one. So it's really talking specifically and focusing this financial wellness on that. And I love the title that Tammy and Riley came up with, Turning Burdens into Bacon. So it's like that BLT club sandwich analogy. And AARP New Mexico is especially interested in this event and will join us to do an update on a program that New Mexico is lucky enough to have. We did it the first financial wellness event with Riley. It's called Work and Save. So it's a way for employers to actually set up a way for employees to save if that small business doesn't have a 401k and the like. So they will do that. And then guess what? We get teen years to do the whole event. And we're very excited about this. Lots of questions we've gotten about how do I modernize my technology skills? How do I teach myself how to use Zoom, how to order groceries online? There was a lot that we all had to learn and are still learning through this. So Trish Lopez and her group of seniors will be on April 29th to walk us through some of their curriculum around modernizing your technology skills. So please join us for that. And the registration links for these are in the chat. Next is another teacher that we're going to be fortunate to have, Heather Robertson. She has got a business called Bold Arrival, and she's been a meditation yoga teacher for years and offers a free meditation. And what we're trying to do is have events that then have community groups attached to them. And this is one of them where Heather has a free meditation on Sunday mornings at 7:30. I thought it was a little early, but I get up for it now because it makes my Sunday. And so that's free on her website, Bold Arrival, and she will give us the gift of her meditation and also just why mindfulness comes before meditation. She doesn't just believe in meditation, it is a whole method. So it'll be great to hear from Heather on May 20th. And then the next one, I think Mary's still on. We'll let Mary and Tanya, and I'm gonna let Tammy jump in on this. The CAP, Center for Applied Positive Psychology, will be back to teach this one in 2 different parts in June.
Yeah, and we're really so happy to have Mary here today. And I'm also happy to be enrolled going through this program with her to learn more about it. I think we have our next session starting next week, if I remember right, Mary.
Yes.
So this is all about if you're ready to retire, but you don't know what to do, or you're already retired, but you're wanting to launch into something new. You would probably really enjoy this program. The PATH stands for Planning Alternative Tomorrows with Hope. And it's a vibrant, as you can see by this example, visual tool to help sort what's important, fun, and or necessary in your future life. So it's going to be presented in 2 different parts. Mary and Tanya will lead us down the path, outlining the steps in this process. And then we'll have the opportunity to work on our own ideas that come up for us in the first session before we get together again a second time. And during the second session, we'll talk with other participants. We have the opportunity to ask questions, and we'll start to solidify our ideas for our coming years, our futures. So it's a really fun process. As you can see, you can go to the office supply and just load up on all kinds of fun. It's one of my biggest weaknesses. I love going and getting Sharpies, as Ellen can attest. I have quite the collection. So anyway, it's a really fun thing to do, and it really makes you think about, what's important and what you want to do next. So I'm excited to have Mary here and to participate in this with our community. So I hope we get a whole bunch of people signed up for this program. Yeah. And like Paula said, the links are in the chat to register for any of these events we've mentioned today. We have not made them public quite yet. So you may want to just copy paste from the chat if these are interesting to you, and you can get registered as soon as you have an opportunity. So yeah, thanks, Paula.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Tammy. And Mary, we look forward to that. That sounds like a great program.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So again, we want to thank our sponsors. We could not do this without them, and we could not offer these programs for free like we do without them. So AARP New Mexico has been a huge inaugural. Both them and French Funerals have been phenomenal support. And Nusenda has renewed their 2022 sponsorship. Big, huge support. NetLinks is a networking site. Stacy Sacco is behind that. Stacy is, if you don't know him, a UNM professor and now retiring. Just a phenomenal professor of networking is what I'll call him. If you need to learn networking, go to NetLink. So, and tremendous support to us to get the word out about us and our events. And then Cumulus Media is also going to start giving us free spots on the various radio stations that they have. Presbyterian, and then Senior Affairs through the city of Albuquerque also are a sponsor. So thank you again to all our sponsors.